So, welcome, friends, to the third day of exploring the prayers and meditations of the Mother. And before we start the session, as usual, we'll just step back for a few moments of silence and contemplation. Thank you. So, very warm greetings to you all. So, in the session today, we shall continue our immersion, our ever deepening immersion into the beauty and grandeur of prayers and meditations under the guidance of Dr. Monica. So, over to you, Monica, and I hope you all benefit from the session. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone. So today, before I start to share, and I can go on and on, like I know my habit, because yeah, there's so much in the prayers and meditations that first of all, the 4 days actually are just as a window, not really fully to cover it all up. But I would like to know before I start sharing that would you have any topics in your mind, uh, any theme, anything from your life, practical life, that may be a challenge, that may be a bother, and maybe you are trying to find out a solution for that. And if you maybe just give a hint or clue about that situation, uh, because since there are many prayers about different topics, and like when I make notes, I write down the themes that this prayer can address so many themes. So if you want to share, I would invite if anyone maybe can step back for a moment and see if there is anything that we would like to understand better and take it up, so then we can take that particular prayer accordingly. If not, then of course I can go on.
Yes, I have something I want to ask. If there is a prayer for something that I'm very impulsive and very reactive. So I want to actually have a prayer which does not helps me in slowing down that reaction or impulsive behavior.
Oh.
And also, a little bit of anger management too, if there is something on that, please.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. Okay. Noted. Noted. Yeah. Anybody else?
I think the mother has spoken something about relating to others. Uh, but yes, personally, I find it difficult to, yeah, maybe like I experience this that when I'm happy within myself, like I can connect with everyone, and otherwise I feel, and I don't know where that is coming from, but of course, in mother's words, or I hear people speaking like, oh, you can connect with the divine in all. And such things, but sometimes there's a lot of resistance or it's not relatable. So I was wondering if you have something specific to it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I've noted these two points. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have something like any prayer related to like how to, when we have to take a decision, the anxiety and the fear comes up. So how to overcome that, while taking a decision. Some any prayer related to that.
Okay, great. Okay, so those of us who have joined late, we are just sharing if there is any topic or any challenge that we would like to maybe understand more about in our life through any prayer, if there is any prayer in my prayers and meditations which directs towards that topic. So if anyone who has joined late has anything, you can either type or share right now or later. Okay, so let's start with what. Yes, Shelly, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, about fear and faith,
About
especially during change and transition.
okay, wonderful.
So for me, last session that you spoke of was like right on it. But yes, more on that.
Wonderful. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with Hridesh ji's topic. And today, anyway, I had a few prayers in my mind which I had noted down where Mother talks about the mental agitation, mental restlessness, and how to work on that. And see, as we have seen, and maybe those of us who have gone through the prayers already, we would see that the remedy is actually only one. If you go towards the end of any prayer, the last paragraph, she always talks of only one remedy. The problems are many, but the remedy is only one. But the thing is that uh, actually mind likes to have variety. So that's why, we if not like this, then like this, so but the ultimate remedy is just one, which is just turning, as Mother has shared in every prayer. You see the last refrain that comes again and again, that when I immerse myself in thee, when I turn to thee, that is the solution of all. There is no need to worry. And when in that immersion we take any action, she says, that is the right action to be taken. As we were discussing yesterday, how little outer circumstances matter. What matters is what is the state of our inner union with the divine presence. So she says that whatever happens in our life, I know that the one thing that I have to work upon is to continue to perfect this inner union. This is what she says. So she says that if something, an error that has been committed by me in ignorance, I know that the only thing I have to do is to perfect my union within. Because when more and more we perfect the union within, it is by default, as a side effect of it, that whatever action is to be taken will be done in the right spirit, right attitude, on the right path. So these two things are a common refrain if you would go through Mother's prayers and meditations. Turning to thee and perfecting the state of union. Okay. But anyway, we'll go through so that we get more and more convinced. So let's go to just a moment. There's this. There was this I've not written it down. Anybody remembers there was the prayer where Mother talks about futile, vain agitation? If anyone can find it and just tell us if you type agitation or vain, then you can find it out. Those of us who are looking in the uh, computer.
29th November 1913.
Okay. Thank you so much. 29th November. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So we start with this prayer. Okay, and I'll just, because there's too much to cover, so I'll just go over it a little quickly and then we discuss about it. Why all this noise, all this movement? And when we are reading this, please consider not the outer noise. Of course, you can consider it, but the inner noise. Okay, because that is where we need the answer. Why all this noise, all this movement, this vain and futile agitation? Why this whirlwind carrying men away like a swarm of flies caught in a storm? How sad is the sight of all that wasted energy, all those useless efforts. When will they stop dancing like puppets on a string, pulled they know not by whom or what? When will they find time to sit quietly and go within, to recollect themselves and open that inner door which screens from them thy priceless treasures, thy infinite boons? How sorrowful and miserable seems to me their life of ignorance and obscurity, their life of mad agitation and unprofitable dispersion. When one single spark of thy sublime light, one single drop of thy divine love can transform this suffering into an ocean of delight. O Lord, my prayer soars towards thee. May they know at last thy peace and that calm and irresistible strength which comes of an immutable serenity, the privilege of those whose eyes have been opened and who are able to contemplate thee in the flaming core of their being. But the hour of thy manifestation is come, and soon hymns of gladness will burst forth on every side. Before the solemnity of this hour, I bow down in devotion. So we see it's exactly what Ridesh ji was asking. So what do I do with the anger? See, if we go to the psychological root, mostly whenever we are angry, we can all look inside and see. Mostly whenever we are angry, somewhere we want to say that I know better, but the things are not done according to what I want. And then we can ask the question, when I can see only this much, how can I say that I know better? There's another way to approach. Another way to approach is that giving mother says that one way to expand the mind is to give a thesis, give an antithesis, and then to synthesize the whole thing. So if, for example, you are saying there is a topic that we are discussing and you have taken extreme opposite, and I am say for the topic and you are against the topic. Now usually how we do it is that we stand up in a debate and we fight against each other. No, I am right. The other one is saying, no, I am right. This is a very narrow way of looking at things, Sri Aurobindo says. So how, and that is why we have wars and clashes in families and relatives, because everyone wants to be right. No one wants to be wronged. But the problem is that if we connect more, the solution, if we connect more and more with our divine presence, we realize that the contentment that we want to have from being right is already provided within. You understand? The contentment is already there within. Because there is some kind of satisfaction that we want to drive from being right. It's a different matter to put forward one's point and to pray for the highest possible decision to be taken. But to acclaim and to proclaim that I am the one whose idea is right and you are all wrong is not the right attitude in which you present your, situation. So he says that you take the for and against and then you discuss it amongst yourselves, and you should be able to find a kind of a harmony, that yes, you take some points from the for person, some points from the against person, and you see that actually they are talking about the same thing. So this is the way to widen your mind, widen your consciousness, and know that there is even the person who is sitting in against, he also wants to be happy ultimately, but he thinks that if he's standing against the motion, then he will be in a happier situation. So anger is something, again, like if we go into mysticism and in what mystics have shared, we can go into really a lot of discussion. But ultimately, I think if we want to take a shortcut, our time is limited. And we have had enough experiences. We all are, in our 20s, more than, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, more than that. Enough experiences are there. And these experiences at least tell us this much, that I really don't know. I may have had experiences. क्या कहते हैं उसको? Man proposes, God disposes. So I have seen in my life, we all can know that I plan something else, God has a different plan. So how do I know that whatever I want to share is the right thing to share? But you still share whatever you want to share, and then you leave it. That's what we were discussing yesterday also, a kind of a disinterestedness in your works and love. And how can one be disinterested? It's not easy to be disinterested, really. We can only be disinterested if we have found all our interests within ourselves. Like if today someone says, everything in your life is snatched away and you are totally to be on your own, how would you feel? Think about it. Would anything move within? If anything is moving within, it means that the base is not in the divine. And if nothing is moving, in fact, you're looking forward to an adventure, maybe some of us are, who knows, then it means the right thing has happened within. The base is firm. Because the most important thing anyone can't give you, actually, nothing in this world can give you that treasure, which already lies within you. If you have found that, nothing will move within your being. If somebody says that your relationships, your children today are to be taken away from you. Children, okay, I'm, making it an emotional prick because it's the children who we are attached to, or our family or spouse, or, your property or your company that you have created. How would you feel? So that is a check. You can, check yourself within. So this is where we have to work from living in this life firmly established in the divine. And actually nothing, that's what we see again and again in the prayers. How do outer circumstances matter? They are just a way for us to constantly progress. In what sense? How is the state of my union with the divine? Can I say I'm living only for the divine? Or at this moment, I can't say that. And I'm not talking of, vain arrogance. No, I am talking of a firm, resolute action that you are taking every day. Are you living for the divine? It's either yes or no, or it's maybe in degrees we increase. You can say, yes, in many parts I do, but there are some soft spots where I still feel weak. We can all be there as well. Fine. But at least you are aware of those soft spots where if the divine says today that, leave everything and come with me, would you be able to go immediately, or would you say, no, please let me attend to that, like that? So what's my situation? Okay, so again, as I was sharing, that this agitation is a futile agitation. That's what mother shares. Why? Because we know that, see, in theory, we all know we are not the doers. The work is being done, whether it's a Hitler or any other leader, or in a family, any person. The person will be compelled to say something that works on you for your progress. So the things are like it's a vastly interconnected web where each person is speaking, acting in order so that each of us can progress. At times, we say something, we may not even mean it, but something has been blurted out from your mouth. And you would not believe that maybe that was important for a person who was being spoken to, and it was important for his progress. And it was not a conscious word that you spoke. Happens, no? Many times. So again, we have to see that the only thing that matters for our existence, if we want to be truly a man that Mother Sri Aurobindo would like us to be, the only thing that matters is progress and continued union with the divine. Nothing else matters. Then where is the space for anger? Look, I can also, when I'm getting angry at something outer, I can see how is my state of union inside. That's what Mother shares in her prayers. That, okay, I said something outside, I did something outside, but then I realized, oh my God, my union is not yet perfect. That is where I should work. And it wastes our energy. We all know how anger, jealousy, or any other such negative thing, how it drains our energy. We all know that, don't we? And when we are in the right space, in the right attitude, how it gives us energy, that also we know. So that can be our gauge. We can gauge red signal or green signal. Is my attitude right? How do I know if the energy is continued throughout the day? And it's like you're connected to a continuous fountain of energy. This is a signal that you can use. And someday we say, what happened to me? I'm not fully in energy. Maybe you have gossiped, who knows? We have maybe entertained somebody, some guest, and entered into gossip. Drains energy. Thought in a judgmental way about a person or a situation or about ourselves drains energy. Fueled negative thoughts, fueled thoughts of unfitness, ill will, drains energy. So see, why are we human being at all? If I can't exercise choice, if I am saying I have no control over myself, why am I a man at all? Won't we want our children to have mastery on their being? We want. I know we all want that our children should be masters of their thoughts and feelings, and they should know how to steer their life. But are we there yet? Because we are the shining examples for the children. They listen less and they see more. They see our behavior, they see our action. And if we can be shining examples that yes, we can become a mental man first, a psychic man first, that everything is unified and what matters is only the divine, and rest all are a result of that union with the divine, all the action. I have seen and I can guarantee that if we begin the change in ourselves, children begin to change. No matter how big they may have become, there always can be a U-turn. But are we changing? Do I have mastery over myself? Or am I just a puppet of all my impulses? And we have to know that these impulses are also coming from our previous lives or childhood problems, whatever. Everyone had a childhood problem, this or that. No one is spared from that. And these are past samskaras, and they're running, they are kind of, Kabir ji says, chalat chalat jug bhaya, kaun batavega dham ji. He says, you have been running for ages, centuries. What has been running? Sanskaras. Kaun batavega dham ji, he says. When will they stop? And when will they stop? When we become conscious. And when we have the willpower along with the consciousness, I see my anger and I exercise the will that it's a past movement. It doesn't need to be here. Now that I am changing as a person, it doesn't need to be here. You stop right there. Knowing it as a past momentum, as a past tendency. Nothing more than that. It's like old ghosts living still in the body. And especially when we know that it doesn't do us any good. Anger spoils, and anger, we see right now the situation is so sad, and it's because of anger of one over the other. You did that to me, I will do that to you. Look at this. So the madness can become so, and we can wonder how those leaders can be so mad. But aren't we that mad? And the leaders are also human beings. So what will they do? Who has chosen them? Us. Mad persons, mad people, selecting mad people, and a lot of madness in the world. So I think it's a very, very urgent need. We can remind ourselves of Sri Aurobindo's 5 dreams, the 5th dream, where he says that the individual needs to be connected with his divine consciousness. Otherwise, no change will happen. We will keep on living this sad life, miserable life. And life is not supposed to be miserable, what we have made of it. So let's go to another one based on, again, mental constructions and these formations, breaking mental patterns. December 4, 1914. Yeah. So here again, Mother is kind of sharing. Let's actually go through it and then we can discuss. So December 4, 1914. After long days of silence, entirely occupied by outer work, it is at last given to me to resume these pages and continue with thee, Lord, this conversation which is so sweet to me. But thou hast broken all my habits, for thou wouldst prepare me for liberation from every mental form. Certain mental forms, more particularly powerful or adapted to the temperament, are sure guides to supreme experiences. But once the experiences are over, thou wouldst have them free in themselves from bondage to any mental form, however high or pure it may be, so as to be capable of expression in the new, most true form, that is, the one most suitable to the experience. So thou didst break all my forms of thought, and I found myself before thee, stripped of all mental constructions, as ignorant about this as a newborn child. And in the darkness of this void lay once again the sovereign peace of something which is not expressed in words, but which is. And I wait without impatience and without fear for thee to construct once again from the heart of the unfathomable depths the intellectual form which seems to thee the most suitable for manifesting thee in this instrument molded out of surrender and ardent faith. So again, since anger is of the mind, and we have to rise above the mind. So when we become conscious of anything in the mind, any thought, any judgment, any opinion, what is the first thing we do? We become conscious of it. It's there. Yes, I see it's there. It's a habit. You give it up. You don't listen to the dictate of it. Because anger, for example, we were discussing, it always has a story. Fear always has a story. Why do we fear? Because we listen to the story and we believe in the story. Why do we do that? Because we don't have control over our thought. Whatever imagination happens, we believe in it. Okay, so if I tell you that maybe there is a common person that we all know of, okay? And you have a judgment about that person in your mind. You may not have shared it with anyone. Okay, you see that person in a different way. Everyone may see that person in a different way. Today, if I say, or if we discuss, we are commonly discussing, if we say, can you be a complete blank page about that person? Like a newborn, as if you don't know that person at all. Can you forget all the past experiences and your opinions from those experiences at once, like that? What is the process? Where do we go? You look into your head, which we say, that's where I think, and you see as if the whole compartment has become completely empty, as if the house is rid of the furniture. It's empty. Can all of us just try it, that you look inside your head, open eyes, closed eyes, doesn't matter, and you consciously make sure that it's a blank slate, it's a blackboard or a whiteboard, but there is nothing on it when you look at that person. Nothing comes. Okay? To support it, what we can do is, we can, with our wisdom and understanding, we can know so far, whatever we have discussed, we know that whatever we think is very, very limited. We don't see the full picture because we don't have the capacity. So can I become unsure of my thoughts about that person? Thoughts may be there, like a spider or something may be there in this house. It doesn't bother me, right? It's there. I'm not following it. I'm not running after it. So those remnants or residual thoughts can exist, but they mean nothing to me. Just like the spider can coexist with me. It doesn't matter to me. The spider webs can also coexist, you know. But I'm not running after it. I'm not fearful. Oh, look at that spider. I'm not, doing that. So this is the mastery that we are aiming at. That the moment we want something new to start, and actually in one of the prayers, Mother says that, isn't it true that every moment the universe is creating and recreating itself? Afresh, anew. Even scientifically speaking, if we look at this body, quantum physics will tell us that nothing in this body is stationary. Biology will tell us that the cells are dying and renewing every moment. So we are not the same person that we think we are. But just because the body overall looks similar every day, we think I am the same person. So how about tapping into that experience of quantum physics where it says, no, there is nothing here. Like this appears solid, but actually this is not solid. This is not solid according to physics. It appears solid because our senses are made in that way that it appears solid. For a fly or a mosquito, it's different. He doesn't see the same way as we see it. And the cells, biologically speaking, those of us who are well versed or know a little about biology, cells are dying and new cells are being born every moment. So I am a changed person every moment. But do we behave that way? No. Why? Because we have no control over our mind. A thought about a person will come, we will relate it with our past experiences, and we will say, yes, I know this person is like that. I have known him for 20 years, 30 years. That is my problem. That is why we rot and stagnate. Okay? And that is the way, understanding this thing is the way how I can be fresh like a flower every moment, like a newborn, as mother says. And in many prayers, mother uses this word, like I am as fresh as a newborn. I am a blank slate. This is the way to live life. Can we be a blank slate every moment? And especially when we are dealing with some old situations where we are stuck. Can we give it a breathing air that I may have thought and I may have opinions about this situation, but now I know at least this much, that my thoughts are not the reality. My feelings are not the reality. I connect different dots in my mind, but they are not the right dots I'm connecting. The other person is connecting some different dots. So he's also right. You are also right. So the fight. Nobody is right. Everybody is wrong, actually. Because we are not united with the divine. Or you can say everybody is right, because everybody has the full freedom to have his own story. Both ways. Okay, so rising, and we were talking yesterday about rising above. So we can't rise above from mind, bypassing the mind. That's why Aurobindo says that animal man, mental man, divine man. So bypass is not possible because we think, all of us think, right? So if anyway we are thinking, we can't help it. Can I become master of my thoughts? Like if I say for 10 minutes, I will not think about the problem that bothers me the most. Is it in your hands? If not, practice. That there is a pressing problem that you have in your life, and you have become so firmly established within that you say, now I choose not to focus on that problem and to focus on the divine, or to stay with my heart or the flame or whatever, and see how we find resolution then. This is the remedy that mother always gives in the last para. That I immerse myself in thy peace and serenity and felicity, and there I await for the right inspiration. Not in the outer being, in the clamor of all the things, because door ko सुलझा रहा है और सिरा मिलता नहीं. We are trying to entangled threads, unentangle them, and we don't have the ends with us. That's our situation. How will we resolve? Okay. So let's take a next one based again on, then we can take questions together. Mental constructions, December 10, 1914. Listen, O Lord, in the silence of deep meditation, my prayer rises ardently to thee. Is it not a great folly to become identified with one form of thought, one mental construction, however vast and powerful it may be, to the point of making it the living center of one's being, one's experience and activity? Truth is eternally beyond all that we can think or say of it. To endeavor to find the most suitable expression, the one best adapted to this truth, is of course a useful task, even an indispensable one for the integrality of one's own development and that of all humanity. But one must always feel free in front of this expression, have one's center of consciousness above it, in the reality which, despite the grandeur, the beauty, the perfection of a mental formula, always eludes every formula. The world is not what we think it to be. The importance of the idea we have of it lies in its effect on our attitude towards action. And this attitude may come from a much deeper, truer, more unchanging inspiration than that resulting from a mental construction, however powerful it may be. To feel in oneself the will to express for men the eternal truth in a completer, higher, more exact form than all those which have preceded it is good, but on condition that one does not identify one's self with this work to the point of being its slave and losing before it all independence and self-control. It is just an activity, nothing more, whatever may be its importance from the earthly point of view, but it must not be forgotten that it is relative, like all activities, and that we should not allow it to disturb our deep peace and that immutable calm which alone lets the divine forces manifest through us without any deformation. O Lord, my prayer is not formulated, but thou hearest it. Okay, so here we see that no matter we as an adult, we as a parent, we as a part of a company, we may be presenting an idea and we think that I have looked at all the points. So my idea is the one which is, the most well observed and taken, everything into account. But Mother says to rise above it and to stay in that reality which is even beyond the best we have presented. So imagine that as a family, we may be discussing, as a friends, we may be discussing something. Now there is a pressure from inside of me to put my point of view, knowing somewhere, since we always like too much about ourselves, I think I am right. I'm not telling it to anyone, but I know within that I am right, and I'm presenting it out, pretending that no, I am listening to your point of view also, but knowing somewhere that no, what I have presented is the one which should be followed. So Mother says this is not the way. And she's actually talking of some higher idea which may actually be one of the best. But she says even above it, there is something deeper, truer, and more. So we should not be identified with whatever we want to say. Because knowing that whatever we say is nothing in front of truth. It's nothing. It's just a way out of so many ways, infinite number of ways to express something, and that too only a little window. So then we can be grounded in ourselves in the highest possible, and always like, this is my suggestion and here I am. Like there is always a gap between me and my suggestion. Usually what happens is my suggestion becomes me. So if somebody rejects my suggestion, I am hurt. This should not happen. So rather than defending our point of view, we can accept, yeah, I may be wrong. It's very humbling to accept that I'm not looking at the full picture. Yeah, I may have a story in my mind, but I'm not sure about this story. To admit this is very humbling. And it's also very widening, because then only I become receptive to listen to something else. So it's widening. It opens our heart also. And it brings us closer to the divine.
There is
Whatever.
something that sorry.
Yes, please, Meenakshi.
No, please complete it.
No, I was just saying that whatever expands us and opens our heart brings us closer to the divine. It may be a tragedy that may have done that, but no problem. It has brought me closer to the divine. So that's most important. Yeah, just that. Please go ahead.
Here I just remember something that I had read. Maybe you also might have read. It is, and I don't remember the source where I read it, but it is about a Japanese guy. He was very good at the craft of arranging flowers. So he was pretty good, and people used to call him for arranging flowers at different events and all. So he was called by some very influential person for some big event. He was called there, and different kind of flowers. He had done everything very beautifully, and nobody would uh, be able to think that something better than this could really be done. So finally, when he had done with it, he just leaves a note there with a pair of scissors and the tools that were used to make all the flower arrangement. That this is to the best of my understanding and the skill that till now that I have acquired. But definitely there must be ways that it can be made better. So I am just leaving the tools here. So anyone can try out his hand so that it can be made better. So from my side, it is kind of open, because this cannot be the ultimate. So just like,
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And Sri Aurobindo also says when he gives his commentary on the Gita that this commentary that I'm giving may be relevant for this time, but when the times change, there will be a different commentary that would be needed, because time is evolving, we are evolving, and truth is also very dynamic and evolving. So amazing. Yes. So we can maybe take, at this moment, we can take any suggestions, sharings, or questions. Anyone?
Monica ji, namaste. Thank you for this discussions. Especially, I think nothing is a coincidence. I have realized over years, everything is very well arranged for what we have to receive. And this topic of anger, I joined when the discussion was going on, and coincidentally, I was actually going through that agitation because I have been trying to correct some situation, and again it seems to come back, and there was this, oh, where is this thing? And suddenly you feel this welling, and when I dialed in, and I'm hearing this discussion on anger. So first of all, it was a beautiful coincidence, very well arranged by mother, I will say. Thank you to all for that. And I felt it was very valuable to, just as a reminder, to continuously put in that ahuti, put it and let it go, put it and let it go, because it is a way of uh, developing some mastery on the vital. And thank you for this reminder. uh, the also the aspect which you brought up around the idea, and the manifestations which are coming out, generally they are weaker than what is the source. um, Mother has actually explained this in her writings. I will share that to the group, but it's a very simple way she has put on what she is calling that ladder from the principle. If you go backwards from the manifestation, the words we speak, or maybe even the drawing we may want to, something that is expressed is not, is just a part of what may be the original which you were referring to. I found that very useful to understand how she has explained it. So where you keep going back from the manifestation through words, you go to the thought leads you upwards to the idea leads you to the principle, and even still higher up when you meditate. So I think just as a rubric to keep understanding, to delve into it, it was very helpful. um, i I will share that because it may be useful to everyone. It says, If you are able to go deep enough, you find the principle and the force behind the idea, and that gives you the power of realization. This is how those who take meditation as a means of spiritual development are able to unite with the principle which is behind things and obtain the power to act on these things from above. But even without going so far, that implies a rather hard discipline, doesn't it? A long standing habit. You can pass quite easily from the thought to the idea, and that gives you a light and an understanding in the mind which enables you, in your turn, to express the idea in any form. An idea can be expressed in many different forms, in many different thoughts, just as when you come down to a more material level, a thought can be expressed through many different words. Going downwards towards expression, that is, spoken or written expression, there are many different words and different formulas which may serve to express a thought. But this thought is only one of the forms of thought which can express the idea behind. And this idea itself, if it is followed deeply, has behind it a principle of spiritual knowledge and power, which can then spread and act on the manifestation. So, I've found it very helpful to understand like why sometimes we say something, it doesn't last. And sometimes some people, when we say or we are in the presence of what they say or they have written, it has a much longer impact because of how far back we have gone to reach the truth of that idea or the thought. So somehow I felt like sharing that in this discussion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Vrindaji. I'm also reminded on your sharing, there's one prayer of the mother in the beginning only where she says that a teaching is only powerful if it's a lived experience of the person who is giving it. So that also adds on to the intensity of what the person wants to communicate, because at times, just for the sake of sharing or expressing or presenting a presentation, we may say many things which may actually look very beautiful, but there is no impact on the person listening. It happens, no? We may have heard a very beautiful presentation, the slides were amazing, but nothing changed in you. You remained the same person. And at times, as you were sharing, at times there is such an impact and intensity in the sharing, even a one word, at times just a line, and that just pierces through, and you are a different person after that. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Anything else, anyone? Yes, Simaji.
Yes. Thank you, Monica, for such a wonderful session. I just want to ask one thing. Whenever we are having our routine daily life, and almost everything is going okay, there are no many problems, or every time we are facing some challenges, such thing is not there every time and every day. But we are just going with our routine. In that case, when we say that it is remember and offer to mother. So as we say, keep okay, I'm going to college and I have to work there like that. So I'm just surrendering to you, mother. That let this going to college and working there, whatever action we are doing, we are surrendering to a mother. We are offering to her. Sometimes when all these things or all these thoughts are going on in our mind, a moment comes when I think that when it is at a practice stage, sometimes it becomes mechanical. That okay, I'm offering, I'm surrendering. So uh, at that time, how we can shift from this mechanical form of because mother prays, but we very small, we don't pray from heart many a times, or we don't surrender everything from heart. We just sometimes go on in words. It happens. So how it can be shifted to more deeper or more in a surrender form.
So the thing is that we think that we have a life without the divine. That things are just running by default. We think that without the divine, life can go on. You know,
Life
it's like,
can.
yeah. And that's what yesterday we were discussing, that if we, for a moment, just for a moment, tap into your body, just look from inside, your eyes may be open, but just look at your body. Millions of functions working just perfectly fine. Something goes wrong in your brain, and you can't even ask this question. Something, a fragile balance, like on the edge, razor sharp edge. Something goes wrong, and you can't breathe. Something goes somewhere wrong, and the stomach is uneasy, right? So if we daily contemplate on how many functions and how many things are at work on keeping us who we are right at this moment, no matter how relatively functional we may be, we may have our small sicknesses and illnesses, it doesn't matter, but we are relatively functional. And if we ponder upon this, if we wonder about this, then we actually will not be able to remember the mother. We will live for the mother, because we know that if not for the mother, I cannot exist. If not for the divine, I know I cannot exist. So this has to become a living reality for us. Right now, it may be words. It has to become living reality for us. And when it becomes living reality for us, the daily offering or whatever you are sharing, it cannot be mechanical. It cannot be mechanical, because your life depends on it. Who are we if not for the breath given to us? Do we have any control over when it will be taken away? No. So how can we not live in gratitude and grace each moment of our life? But we don't live, because outer circumstances appear very, very concrete, as we were discussing yesterday. Why? Because we have been given these senses, and the doors of the senses open outside. And when they open outside, like as if I'm seeing for the first time, and everything which is so glittery outside is so important than what is inside, and which is making it see. Right? And that is why it's like a homecoming back home. That's what they have said. Mystics have said ki aaja ghar wapis aaja, come back home. Because when we come back home, then even these doors, which are the senses, can be used very, very wisely, and not in a way right now we are turmoiled by our senses, and sometimes we think that those two people were talking something. Why did I listen? Because it was so sad what they were talking, so as if the senses are, at this moment, they are a kind of, bringer of turmoil. Why? Because we have no control, as we were discussing. We have no control. So they may have, those two people may have been discussing what fell into your ears. Don't you have your power of visualization and thought? And can't anything come from you that can go into those people to change them? Why doesn't it happen? We can ask ourselves. And mother shares that you carry your atmosphere. They may have brought their atmosphere. Why can't you carry your atmosphere? So to answer again, come back to your question, I would say that I think we become convinced only with experience. And if a regular normal life is there and still it becomes mechanical at times, then definitely somewhere in my thoughts I'm going haywire. So you have to check your thoughts. And again, as I am sharing this, and somebody else may give you something else. So, never mind. You take my things with pinch of salt, please. If it doesn't resonate, just throw it away. But I share whatever I would say to myself. For example, if something else is becoming so important for me, I would ask myself, why is my focus not on the mother? If I'm becoming less grateful, it means I'm definitely living in my ego. Ingratitude comes from the ego. So where did that rise above, again, where did that pop out his head? Where did I give it fuel? So I will check it. I will check it within. And I will again ground myself, and I will belong only to the mother, live only for the mother, and do my duties as best as I can. And my happiness or my anything does not depend on those outer things. My happiness is coming from my union with the mother. That's most important. So I feel that if we are more and more conscious within, and this gives us delight and is important to us, it is impossible for it to become mechanical. So think about it. Just go within and check what's wrong. Some screw may be loose, and you may have to tighten that screw. Yeah.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
I would add here what Seema is saying. Actually, many of us must have faced this mechanical kind of japa or the connection or whatever. But what if it is mechanical? At least it is a relation with the divine. So even if it is mechanically done, so still you are still in touch with mother, no? So anything that is connecting you to the divine in whatever way, these are all phases. It's not that all the time it is mechanical. There are glimpses that okay, you have deep uh, dialogue with the divine also. Deep, you must have felt that connection. So if some of the time, because we are all still in work in progress, so if it is mechanical for a part, so that also is okay. At least we are connected. We are having a dialogue with the divine, even if it is. I mean, this is what I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And in Namajapa, Sri Ramakrishna Das also mentions that aren't our thoughts mechanical? And yet we believe in them, and they are running all the time. They're mechanically running, and we are believing in it and living by them. So he also says that even if a japa is mechanical, it will have its effect. So not to get bothered by it. And even if you want to start and in the beginning you feel it's too mechanical, I don't have any feeling with it, he says that just do it mechanically in the beginning, doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Yes. Anything more, anyone?
Yeah,
I
I also feel that yes, like presently, like a pendulum, sometimes you feel that joy and delight so much, it's just flowing. And yes, there are times it gets mechanical, but at such times I just tell the mother, because there is that struggle, and I just tell, please, like, grace, keep your grace on me, like let it be pouring, like, like I am at your feet. So there are times when I do feel that, I am praying, but that flow is not always the same. So it is her grace also, I feel, so.
Yeah, bilkul, definitely. Yes. And there are a few prayers. If we would go through, all of us, you can go through, turning page by page, and maybe one day you land upon that. There are few prayers where mother shares that I do not crave for the experience and ecstasy that you gave me, because I know that wherever I am, you are with me all the time. Although I may not feel it as strongly as I did the other day, for example. And I have no doubt of your presence, because your presence does not depend on my feeling. So yeah, that's a very good point. So she says that, like, you remember there was one blind person who came to see the mother, and of course he could not see. He could not see, and somebody asked him that, were you able to see the mother? Of course not. But she saw me. So this is, yeah, it's a very good point to keep in mind, that we may be in whatever state, not the most delightful or ecstasy state, because again, it's life and things keep on changing. And yet the divine is present concretely with us throughout the existence, because there is no existence possible without the divine. So having that certitude and faith that I may not feel it, but it's there. I know it is there. Like in every prayer also, mother says, victory to you. I know your victory is certain, she says. The situations right now may seem otherwise, but your victory is certain. This much I know. You will triumph, not anything else. So yes, that can be kept alongside. Yes. Anything more, anyone?
Yeah, I have a question. While doing these prayers and meditations, what is the power we should maintain every time?
Yeah, I personally don't think there is any bhav. I mean,
Yeah.
to some it may come naturally, and if it's, even as we were discussing, even if it's mechanical reading, go ahead. Go ahead, because at least you are reading the prayers, and these words are not just words. Mother has said herself that all their words are a consciousness and power. So even if they are being read just like that, they will have an impact on us. So I would say, there is no, as we were reading in one of the prayers, that truth has no formula. And that's beautiful, that it has no formula, because it can be approached from wherever you are. So, for example, Ridesh ji right now may have a devotion while reading the prayers and meditations. And maybe some other person, say me, I don't have right now, I'm lacking devotion, and yet I'm just reading along with you. It will have an impact. It will have an impact. So yeah, I would say be carefree about that, and just whatever state it is, if you are reading it, I think that will do its work. That will do its work.
And also, I think that the best thing about present meditations is that it it gives us the way to connect with the divine kind. We know that how do we approach the divine? Like, okay, we might be having our own personal thing, but how best can we actually approach or connect to him? I remember that there were days when I was just 19 and I had started I got a job in government defense audit, and I started going there. And since I was too young and the government kind of set up, I was not kind of was not okay with that initially. So I every day I would go in the morning, since we had been reading prayers and meditations all the time. So every morning I would write a letter to mother, and it definitely had the the effect of I could see myself that it has that what how mother approached the divine. uh, so in my own way I was expressing myself to the divine, that what is the issue, and then what is the how do I kind of in the end what do I ask the divine for. So it gives us a way to connect with the divine, and which definitely helps.
Hmm. Yeah. And it also tells us the way to live life.
yeah, to handle things and to,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. All the challenges, all the
all,
difficult people around us. It tells us the
it gives
highest.
us strength, like, that, okay, fine, now
Yes.
you have expressed it to the divine, and now, okay, you will get whatever is needed.
Bilkul, yes. Beautiful. There are a
So,
few. Sorry, yes, Shweta. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
no, I just thought I would like to share my journey. So 5 years ago, I just started this prayers and meditation first time in the group. Like, so at that time I had no idea. So I had joined the session just thinking, just by the word prayers and meditation. So I didn't know mother's prayers and meditation and living light. So like at that time, just the collective helped me so much because the way they were reading and it seemed very lofty and there was only aspiration. But yes, like, it how it has grown, and now the way I understand it, and as a first timer who read it with no idea and no background, it I just everybody's support just helped me to understand and have the aspiration. Yeah, so
There are a few prayers on self-forgetfulness, because the reason of our misery is too much focus on ourselves. If we look at our mind and feelings, we will see that, if I'm not wrong, around more than 90% of the time, maybe 98, 99 for some people, they are just circling around me, me and my story, me and my story. And of course, this is not the right way to live. So, Mother, in some of the prayers, she talks about self-abnegation. This is the word that comes in one of the prayers, self-abnegation and self-forgetfulness. Care for self-preservation, she says, that when will we lose the care for self-preservation? Ki mera kya hoga? And then she says that what a misery it is when our thoughts are turned toward ourselves, and what a delight it is when the thoughts are turned to the divine. So again, we have a gauge. We have a red signal or a green signal. If a day is there, a usual day, and you are going through the day and you feel a little miserable, so check your thoughts. Are they turned to the divine, or are they turned to the outer situations and, my story and what will happen of me? Self-abnegation, ABNEGA, negation होता है ना, negation, abnegation, self-abnegation. So this is, again, as I said, that we can use this as a gauge, and I have seen it with myself that instantly, if we are ready, it can bring instant reversal, because by mistake we go back into our story. We may not have wanted to do that, but as like you sit on the slide and the only way is to come down, you slide down. So as I was sharing, that the sanskaras and the vrittis are so strong that they don't just stop suddenly. So you will keep coming down the slide again and again, but you will realize it more quickly and quickly, that, oh my God, I'm again back in my story. No, back to the mother, like that. So again, and she mentions it many prayers, that what felicity it is to turn to the divine, and what misery it is to turn to the self or to the outer situations. So basically, what we have to start doing, in the crux of the matter, what we have been sharing, is that our happiness and contentment should only come from the divine presence. Why we suffer is because we depend on the outer situations to give us happiness, which never arrives. Even if it arrives, it is fleeting. it is taken away very soon, and then we cry. So if we get firmly established in that happiness and source within, slowly, slowly, slowly with practice, then the outer circumstances just always are indicative of where I need to, maybe as I was sharing, a screw tight here, a loose screw here, because the moment I interact again with the outer situations or deal with a particular situation, it tells me where I am lacking in my union. So what matters most in this world is not the outer, but the state of inner union. And once that is firmly established, then whatever you do will be always auspicious. You can be sure about that, because it will be disinterested works. You are not wanting anything from that situation. You're not a beggar anymore. You're not a desiring soul anymore. And you have fulfilled the fifth dream of Sri Aurobindo. We can be happy about that, or if not fully fulfilled, at least one is on the path, progressively on the path. So he'll be very happy to see their children progressing well on the path. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to share, because this is very important, as all our misery is mostly coming from uh, talking about myself and thinking about myself. So look up these prayers where Mother talks about self-forgetfulness. One is March 30. I'm just giving you the numbers. March 30, 1917. January 4, 1917. Maybe December 12, 1916. And then it's somewhere Mother also talks about desirelessness, how that can bring more satisfaction. And what matters is this progressive state of union within. Okay, so the last thing that I want to, Ridesh, you want to share something? Okay, maybe the internet is going up and down. Okay, so another theme that I was sharing with you, all of you, yesterday I was sharing that in most of the prayers, Mother is praying for all beings. And this can be our prayer also, because it expands us from our story. It just pushes us out. It makes us global. It makes us universal. And then we are not anymore contained in me and my problems. My problem is just a window to understand the problems of billions. And once I know that suffering, I can pray for the billions. So use this prayer and even include your enemies or so-called people that you may not like, who may not have done very good to you in your life, you think, in your story. But include them in the picture, and may their heart be full of peace, and may they find the serenity and joy. And you will notice that if you truly, truly do this practice from your heart, it actually soothes and brings peace to your heart. So that's the signal again to tell you that this is the right practice done in the right attitude. Because not only you are using your formation for good of others, it's also working on your ill will. So I want to take just one last prayer. We may just quickly brush through it maybe, and you can read it later. I just want to give you a window. There is a prayer of 1914, August 29, where Mother talks about, 1914, August 29, Mother talks about what is the purpose of man. Yes, yes. So let's end with this prayer today so that we know why we are born. So she shares here, what would be the use of man if he were not created to throw a bridge between that which is eternally but is unmanifested and that which is manifested, between all the transcendences and splendors of the divine life and all the dark and sorrowful ignorance of the material world. Man is the link between what must be and what is. He is the footbridge thrown across the abyss. He is the great cross-shaped X, the quaternary connecting link. His true domicile, the effective seat of his consciousness, should be in the intermediary world at the meeting point of the four arms of the cross, just where all the infinitude of the unthinkable comes to take a precise form, so that it may be projected into the innumerable manifestation. That center is a place of supreme love, of perfect consciousness, of pure and total knowledge. There establish, O Lord, those who can, who must, and truly want to serve thee, so that thy work may be accomplished, the bridge definitively established, and thy forces poured unwearingly over the world. So this is our duty as man. We don't have to shy away from fear. We don't have to shy away from any difficult situation, facing our anger. No problem. We all have anger. We all have fear. This or that. किसी को छिपकली का है तो किसी को ghost का है. But fear तो fear है. And what is fear if not self-preservation? So we have to know that there is no problem with all these darknesses. The only function, the only purpose that we are here as a magician, sent from the divine, is that these darknesses have to be changed into their light counterparts. किसी को उतना ही चैलेंज दिया जाता है जो उसके लिए तैयार होता है. So mother says that we are all sent, or mother says that the souls jumped into this adventure, plunged into the darkness, she says, because they said, we will collaborate with the divine mother, like that. So we have come here to collaborate. We have come here for this work only, to face the darkness, to turn it to light. Why? Because we have the power. We have the power. If you can cook good food, I will bring the raw material so that you can cook good food. Why? Because I trust your capacity to cook good food, right? So just like that, darkness and all that which is negative, fear, go close to fear. You are the light. How can light be afraid of fear? You are the light. We can be fearful only so long as we don't understand things fully. The moment we go closer and closer to the situation, we see that whatever I was thinking about the situation actually was nowhere near to what was to be done. It was all in my thought. It was just a story in my head. So we have to know with certitude that we are the warriors of the mother. There is a purpose to our existence. No one is unfit, no matter how weak you may think you are. No matter how you may think, oh, the other person is more, strong, and I, bachpan se hi meri na ye weakness rahi hai. No, stop defending your weaknesses. Really. Because whenever I defend my weakness, I am on the side of the devil. I am not on the side of the mother. And I am actually shying away from the very task for which I came willingly, but I have not forgotten it, that I came willingly. So go close to your fears. You have nothing to be afraid of. The worst possible that can happen is you die, you suffer. And in Savitri, we see that even death and suffering cannot kill who we truly are. So what is there to fear? Go close to the anger. Go close to what we were. Yeah, if we have a transition coming in our life. Come on, you are adventurers. Are adventurers shying away from a new change, a transition? There are prayers of the mother. Maybe we can take it tomorrow, where she is transitioning and she is feeling so gratitude, so much of gratitude for the past that has been, and she's praying for those hearts who may be attached to the mother, since there were relationships which she is leaving. And she is saying, may they not suffer, may their hearts be full of peace. And may the new that is unfolding in front of me make me truly a servant of the divine. May I be able to fulfill what you have sent me here to fulfill. So we are not here for ourselves. And once we know that, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. Even if we die, there is nothing to fear. Have that certitude. Nothing can harm who you truly are. We have been reading that in Gita since we were a child. Okay, so face everything, all the transitions, or if you are to take a decision, take a decision. We were discussing earlier that I don't know if there is a decision to be taken. What is the worst possible that can happen? Even after whatever you have made, you may make a wrong decision. What has Sri Aurobindo said in Savitri? Our errors are his steps on the way. So what is there to fear? We will learn from the mistake. So go ahead, and even our children, we should tell our children that they should, poised in themselves as much as they can. They should march ahead, and no blunder, no fear, no tragic situation can take away from them the real treasure, the most important treasure that no power can take away from anyone. Not even death can take away that. The power that we have, the treasure that we have, our true consciousness. So that is the certitude we should have. Jo Mirabai ki, Mirabai has a song where she says that I have got such a, payo ji maine Ram Ratan Dhan payo. She says that I have got such a treasure which no robber can take away from me. It always keep on increasing. It doesn't diminish. That is the treasure I have found. So that is the treasure lies within us, and we all have to find. It's our responsibility to find, and then to fulfill all the worldly duties from that attitude, living from the treasure and distributing the treasures outside, not living like a beggar. No, we have to stop living like a beggar. We have to distribute our bounties outside. But how will we distribute if my own cup is empty? So fill your cup up and distribute. Because as Mother shares in many prayers, the world is a sorrowful place, what we have made of it. People are suffering. Can I be a drop of poison less in that suffering? Can I be a fire that illumines? Can I be a love that gives and doesn't want anything in return? We all have the capacity to become that. And the divine, really so compassionate, is waiting and waiting and waiting for her children. कभी तो आँख खुलेगी हमारी. कभी तो आँख खुलेगी. Eternal patience the divine has. इस जन्म में नहीं खुलेगी तो अगले जन्म में खुलेगी, he thinks. But खुलेगी तो खुलेगी, कभी तो खुलेगी. So why not in this life? Okay, so let's 2 minutes do a practice before we close. And we again know ourselves, see ourselves as a flame, as a fire, however you see it, going up and up, leaving nothing for itself, just burning up, going to the divine, where it truly belongs, lighting up the path, burning all obscurities on the path. All the burdens are burnt, every moment in this fire so that the path can be virgin, new. Every moment the path can be virgin. Fresh path, fresh mind, fresh feelings. And when we go back to our friends and relatives, as if we are meeting them for the first time with a fresh outlook, a blank slate. And all the past keeps on getting consumed in this fire that we have become. And the fire lives only in the divine, for the divine. And now imagine all of us joining from everywhere, living fires, flames, illumining wherever they are, and distributing the bounties that they get within, keeping nothing for themselves because they are boundless, they are bountiful. The more they distribute these fires and flames, the more we distribute, the more our treasure becomes. And we are nothing but a burning fire for progress. And wherever we go, all of us, fires, aspirations, wherever we go, we distribute, we do not ask. We give of ourselves. And that giving of ourselves is the gratitude towards the source that fulfills us each moment. Whether we know it, feel it, or do not know it and do not feel it. The source exists and it doesn't bother whether we take care of it or not. It will keep on existing continuously, unconditionally. We may not love it back, but it loves us. And it is the sole reason for our existence. And now see the whole earth, the whole globe in front of you. And with a certitude, know that the victory is to the divine. Declare the victory to the divine, the victory to the truth. And whatever is happening will turn out for the best possible and for the highest possible. Each heart will be fulfilled. Each heart is peaceful wherever they are. And they all are turning to the divine. So that the whole earth is like an aspiring, burning globe of fire, giving itself up to the divine, living for the divine. And doing what we are supposed to do, fulfilling our responsibility. May whatever is happening, happen for the highest and the best. Thank you. So we stop here. Thank you, everyone. And good night, good evening. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Monica. Yeah,
Yeah.
great session.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, namaste to you all. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.